Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IO, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's revision, I wouldn't call it revision, it's more like a walkthrough. We are taking the course STT 205, and basically, like we all know, STT 205 is subdivided into two parts, whereby we have the theoretical part and we have the calculation part. So today we are going to be taking some of the theoretical parts, and in our next class to be more of calculations on the course STT 205. I have with me today Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel, it's great to have you on board. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So awesome. So without further ado, for those of us who might be interested in becoming, all right, one of our members as the next semester is fast approaching, just do to reach out to us on our official website, www.tutorio.net, where you find the WhatsApp button on the top right hand corner, and you can use that to send Tutorio a direct message. So now, Miss Rachel, I believe you have your keynotes with you there.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what do you have on the term statistics?
Statistics can be defined as a management tool for making decisions.
Awesome. Please,
sir.
So can you throw more light into that? What it means by statistics?
It is
why is it a management tool, and why is it basically for making decisions?
Because it involves calculation and bringing out facts. You collect facts from it. You have to follow some steps to actually get the facts, the real facts.
Okay, very well then. Now, statistics is not just any management tool for making decision. Okay, statistics is the most effective management tool for making decision. Making of decision, it sounds very easy and straightforward, but a lot of things are involved. A lot of things are considered before a decision is being made. Remember when we talked about being rational in Echo 231? That word being rational is denoted in that word. That word itself is connotative in meaning. A lot of hidden metrics are under that word. All right, but what I just want to draw out now is that making of decision requires considering a lot of data. If you don't have the required data and you jump into making conclusions or decision, you find out that such would have been a very terrible one. All right, but with statistics, informed decisions can be made. Decision making is useless without statistics. Decision making is useless without being informed. And this is where statistics comes in. All management, all organization, even you as an individual, everybody needs statistics. All right, it cuts across virtually everything we do as human. It is way beyond just the numbers. It goes a long way than that. We get to find out as we continue in this class. So please continue, ma'am.
Scientific approach to presentation of numerical information, presentation of facts in numerical forms. Statistics as a scientific method, which is used for collecting, summarizing, classifying, analyzing, and presenting information in such a way that we can have thorough understanding of the information
Presented should be presented.
Okay.
It should be of the information. Yes. Just can you correct that? I'm just going to correct from my end here. Presented. Okay. Now, based on these two sentences, the first one and the second one, can you throw more light? Can you explain a little bit more on that?
Sir?
Based on the fact that you said scientific approach to presentation of numerical information, presentation of facts in numerical forms, and you said statistics as a scientific method which is used for collecting, summarizing. Can you throw more light on that, man?
No, sir.
You don't want to say anything about it? What do you
No,
understand
sir.
by it? Okay, now you are saying that statistics is very important when it comes to making a decision. Now, to further buttress what I said,
Yes, sir.
we were told that as far as statistics is concerned, statistics is scientific in nature.
Yes.
Okay? When you
Yes,
do
sir.
something that has to do with statistics, we are simply considering, all right, an approach which is scientific. And you know, when
Yes.
we say anything scientific does not just assume, anything scientific does not just jump into conclusion.
Yes.
When we say scientific, this we are talking about anything that involves steps upon steps, observation after observation, experimentation, clarification, all right, and a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
things are involved before it can now be generally accepted. Then we are talking about scientific. So for you to now say statistics is a scientific approach, it means that when you have these statistics, a lot of things are involved in verifying these statistics. When you have these statistics, a lot of things goes into ensuring that it is what it is. All right, it is not
Yes.
otherwise or what is to be. Now look at what it says here. It's an approach to presentation of numerical information.
Yes.
Okay, it's an approach of presentation of numerical information.
Information.
Do you know that numbers speaks volume?
Yeah.
Are you aware of that? Numbers
Yes.
speaks volume. This is what we are being told
Yes.
here. Now, as far as this statistics is concerned, it has a lot to do with numerical information. All right, and embedded in these numerical informations are facts. Embedded in these informations are facts, and like we all know, facts are objective. They are not biased. Facts are not what you think. Facts, all right? It is a fact that Ikorodu is in Lagos. Take it or leave it. It is a fact that the law of football is that you kick it with your leg, and as a goalkeeper, you save it with your hands. Take it or leave it. That is a fact. It is unbiased. It is not an assumption. It is not by what you think. So statistics, we are being told that this information embedded in these numericals, all right, information in these numericals or numerals are the presentation of facts. That is the all and sundry of statistics. I don't know if we are making sense.
Yes, sir.
Now, to further break this into bits, it says here that statistics, now that we understand that we've accepted that it is a scientific approach, that statistics as a scientific approach now, as a scientific method, involves the collecting. Okay, what are we collecting? Facts, data, numerals. Collecting, and it's not good enough to collect. When you collect, you summarize, then you do the classification, then you analyze, and then you present. Your presentation will not be informed. Your presentation will not be making sense. Your presentation will be of no use if you are not collected, summarize, classify, and analyze. Are we together?
Yes.
The reason why you need to go through all these processes is because statistics itself is scientific in nature. And when it comes to anything scientific, it goes through a series of scrutiny. It goes through a series of processes until every information, every detail is accurate and it's caught precisely, hit the nail on the head. Same thing with statistics. If you have not summarized, if you've not collected, if you've not summarized, analyzed, then your presentation will be useless. All this process enables you to present information in such a way that what will happen? Do you have it there?
Yes, sir. I'm coming, sir. Load.
Okay.
Once I'm not on the app or I'm on my phone. Oh,
You need
okay.
to download that.
So, what do you say, sir?
So I asked, after you've done the
Tutorial.
yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So I said, after you've done all the collecting, summarization, classification, analyzing, it enables you to what? Present your information in such a way that what will happen?
That we can have thorough understanding of the information represent or presented.
That we can have thorough.
Yes,
When you
thorough
hear the word
understanding.
thorough, we are saying we can have a proper, a detailed,
Yes,
an
deep
accurate,
understanding. Yes.
exactly, without leaving any stone unturned, a proper understanding of the reality, the information being presented.
Presented.
And this is achieved only through that process of statistics. Okay? So any
Yes, sir.
information that is thorough, all right, any information that is thorough, what's view, detailed and properly communicated, all right, the person who is doing that presentation or presenting that information has done some statistical
Data.
job, all right, has done some series of statistics just to ensure that this information is perfectly presented. Okay, so we have that as that. Now let's continue.
Statistics are concerned with numerical data. Examples
Awesome.
of
I think we
such
talked about that
numerical
earlier.
data are the height and weight of pupils in a primary school when evaluating the
Okay,
nutritional well-being of the pupils.
awesome, awesome. That's just basically an example of what we're talking about.
Now,
Okay,
the roles of statistics:
okay,
analyze stock levels such as minimum, maximum, and recorder levels.
okay,
Government uses statistics as a tool for collecting data on economic aggregates such as national income, savings, consumption, gross national product.
okay. Now, awesome.
Government also uses statistics during census.
Now, all these rules we made mention of, all right, they
Yes,
are the rules of statistics, but they are not limited to this. It
yes,
goes a long way, all right. But just to mention about a few, speaking of numericals, minimum, maximum, and recorder level. Government using it government using statistics as a tool for collecting data on certain things like economic aggregates, national incomes, savings, and everything. And also, you know what it means by census, right?
yes. Head
Awesome. This is
count,
when,
the head
yeah,
count of.
yeah, members of the country population,
Yes,
just to know what the population of the country is.
yes.
So we have that. So now, what are the basic concepts in statistics? Can you walk
We are
us through
number
them
one
and
entity.
please explain them to?
This entity may be a person, place, and thing on which we make observations. In studying the nutritional well-being of pupils in a primary school, the entity is a pupil in the school.
Exactly. So what do you want to expand more on what it means by that entity?
Yes, let me just say they are the objects we want to know more about.
Yes, yes. It has to be either it could be living or non-living matter, but the most important thing is that there must be an object. That's what the
Yes,
object of observation, the object of study. Very well there.
Now, the second one is
Then we have the
variable.
next one. Okay.
This is a characteristic that assumes different values for different entities. The weight of pupils in primary schools constitutes a variable.
Okay. You know why weight is used as an example of variables. So there are five people in a classroom.
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F. 5 persons. You know that their weight can never be the same thing.
Yes, yes,
So even what can we use that is very very common. What we are just trying to say is that variable differs.
yes,
It differs a lot. As much as you are considering one or two observing, each of these um, object of observation have different characteristics, makes their variables different as well.
yeah.
Okay, so you can continue, please.
Now we have random variable.
Okay,
Sorry, it's loading again.
it's loading again. You're on
So
that random variable.
random
Basically, we are
variable
just talking about.
probability, sir?
Yeah, continue, please.
Probability function and the variable a random variable. Random
Now,
variable
when we say
probability function.
yes, random probability, this is when you just pick variables at random. All right, it's when you pick variables at random. Basically, okay, from a population we have a sample at which you can randomly pick a variable. This is what you are observing. So from this bunch of things you're observing, just want to, all right, randomly. It's just like when you say you have red balls in a basket, yellow balls in a
Yeah.
basket, green balls in a
What's
basket,
the
and you just
probability of
randomly pick.
you picking a red ball?
Exactly, just randomly pick one of the red balls. So when you are randomly picking one of the red balls, from that box you are picking that particular red box. You are supposed to have a variable with color red, all right, and some other
Yes.
things might be inclusive, but it will be distinctly different from that of the box with yellow balls or the box with green balls.
Yeah.
So now we have the next one.
We have quantitative variable.
Okay.
This is a variable whose value are given as numerical quantities.
I think we
Examples:
did this
this
class, right?
is the hourly
Quantitative and
patronage of
qualitative.
a restaurant.
Can you hear me?
Sir?
So I think we did this in our revision class. Can you remember? Quantitative and qualitative.
No, I don't think
Do
I
you
was
remember?
present in the revision class. So,
Why? Why are you not present in the revision class, Miss Rachel?
sir?
Why are you not present in the revision class? Or are you not
I
writing this current exam?
I I am now.
So why are you not present in the revision class?
Maybe I missed the class also.
Okay. When we say quantitative, have you heard of the word quantitative reasoning?
Yeah, yes now. Quantitative and verbal.
Uh, that means you can relate the variable, the population, the sample, anything at all. You can relate it, you can measure it
Yes,
numerically. When we say
yes,
quantitative, like quantity, it's
yes,
countable. You can attach numerical values. But when we say qualitative, that means you cannot attach numerical values.
yes.
They are basically opposite each other. So now, attaching quantitative to variables or attaching qualitative to variables, we're simply talking about variables that, when it's for quantitative variables, we're talking about variables that you can attach numerical values to. But when we say qualitative variables, these are variables you cannot attach numerical. All right.
Values.
So they are basically what it is. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. The next one.
The next one is qualitative. So you've explained the two. Now we have discrete variable. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
This is
I
the
can hear
variable
you.
that this is the variable that can only assume whole numbers. Examples of number of female students in the various programs in National Open University. A discrete variable
Yes.
has interruptions between the values it can assume. For instance, between 1 and 2, there are infinite number values such as 1.1, 1.11, 1.111, 1.1111, and so on.
Yes.
These are
One
called
thing you need to just
interruptions.
yes. One thing you need to just understand that when we say discrete, we are talking about whole numbers. Right? These are variables that we can attach a number, like a whole number to. When we say look at what it says here. For example, number of female students in the various programs now. This example now we can say okay, students that are female running programs in now, they are 10,000. We cannot say they are 10.15 thousand, or we cannot say they are
Okay.
10.008 thousand. No, those are not discrete variables. Discrete variables you can attach them to whole number. Okay, ten
Yeah.
thousand, they are 10,000, they are 30,000. Okay, so now in between these discrete variables, there's something called interruption.
Okay.
So between that 1 and 2, definitely we have series of interruptions. All right, series of them. Between 9 and 10, we have series of interruptions. So an example of them is 1 point, decimals, numbers with decimals.
Yes.
Okay, so we have that as that.
Now we have continuous variable.
Okay,
This is a variable that can assume both decimal and non-decimal values.
so now discrete variables don't support decimal values. Is that clear? Because questions
Yes.
can be twisted. Mm. But when we say continuous now, it assumes both decimals and
And
non-decimal. So for
non-decimal.
discrete is non-decimal.
Yes.
Continuous is decimal and non-decimal.
Non-decimal.
Okay, so we have that start. So let's continue.
Now we have population.
Okay,
This is the largest number of entities in a study. In the study of how workers in Nigeria spend their leisure hours, the number of workers in Nigeria constitutes the population of the study.
population. Exactly. All right, the largest number. Okay, the uh, largest number of entities. Remember what we call entities, right? Subject
Yes.
of observation or
Yes.
object of observation. So now, so population now. Let's say, for example, now you want to study numbers of okay, now let's say you want to study people in the department of this admin that takes MTH 105. What will be your population
The total amount now.
of
The total amount of both boys and girls.
it's right. Your population would be the total amount of students that enrolled into that department.
Yes.
Because if if you are saying this admin MTH 105, that means you are not considering accounting, you're not
Yes.
considering this banking and finance. Your
Yes.
population
I
would
know.
be students that enrolled into this admin. So now it's not left for you to now decipher who and who among this population are not doing MTH 105. Because I think MTH 105 now is now an elective course. It's no longer a compulsory course.
Multiple. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've changed it from being compulsory. You're not even supposed to do mathematics, this admin. You're not supposed public admin.
No,
All
public
your courses should
abuse.
be
Ah,
all your courses should be pop or pad.
it's pad.
When you
I
go to
don't know. This
your
DS I did not even do much of pole and pad at all. Only I only did pad two pad and only one pole. No, sorry, that pad is under public political something. The pad
yeah
20204
four
is political
yeah
science or
12.
political stuff like that. Then this one is
Yes, yes.
public administration course.
Okay, yeah. But when you get to your 300 level now, you begin to do more of part.
That would be better.
Mm. You think so? Okay, just wait till you get there.
I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But
Okay, just wait till you get there. Okay, so now we have populations. What about sample?
now, sample. This is the part of the population that is selected for a study. Like the example you gave, the MCH 1005 is a sample.
Yes, of the population. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Now we have
So we have
random sample.
sample. Okay.
This is a sample drawn from population in such a way that the result of its analysis may be used to generalize about the population from which it was drawn.
Also, randomly selecting the sample. All right, randomly selecting members of the sample, just like what we call subset. What we call subset in set theory, right?
Yes, yes.
There's a set, so you
Intersection,
just
union, subset.
yes. But when we say subset precisely, we are talking about if set A is A, B, C, D, then set B is D. So set B is a subset of set A because you can find A in B.
Yes.
So now when we say random sample, now whatever you are randomly selecting from the sample is a subset of the sample because you did what? Collected it from the sample
From the
itself.
sample.
But what you just did was you just randomly select it. And it points back to the sample and it points back to the population.
Yes.
Okay, so we have that as start. So what do you have on primary data?
Okay. Now, primary data are data collected by or on behalf of the person or people who are going to make use of the data. It is the data collected specifically for a purpose and used for the purpose for which it did. So we have
Collected.
height example, we have height and weight of students collected to determine their nutritional well-being.
Now, when we say primary data, these are data. Now, what I noticed about this data of the thing in statistics is not really about who collected it. All right, it is about what you are using the data for. Are you with me? It
Yes,
is the
sir.
data collected specifically for a purpose, and it is the data collected specifically for a purpose and used for the purpose for which they are collected. So it's more like a direct source. It's just like you getting your raw materials now. Get the raw materials, then you use them to convert into what you want to convert them to directly. Okay, I don't know
Yes,
if you
sir.
get that. Unlike the secondary data.
The secondary the secondary data, this is the data that is used by a person or people other than the person or people by whom or for whom the data was collected. These are the
Okay,
data collected for some other purpose, frequently for administrative purpose,
oppose exactly.
and used
All
for the
right, so
purpose
it's more
which
like a
they
sublet.
were not collected.
Exactly. Now you see the differences. I want to buy bread. I want to use buy bread and okay. Let's. I want to get fuel for my vehicle and I use this for my vehicle. But now I go for vehicle, then I'm using it for something outside vehicle or something outside the use of fuel itself entirely. We are referring to getting information or getting data and using it for something else entirely. That is for the secondary data. All right, but anything apart from statistics, when we talk about primary and secondary data, we're talking about primary data are data collected directly from the source. If
Yes.
it's not statistics, so and secondary data are data that are not collected directly from the source, from other source. But here in statistics, it's more like using it for the information needed, and secondary is using it for some other purpose, not for the reason why it was collected. So you see, there are two different things now.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So what do you have on macro statistics information?
These are produced by the public sector of the economy. They are related to
Remember
the
the word
whole
macro
country. Yes, many.
in yes, in economics. You're talking about aggregates.
Yes,
Aggregates is more is bigger, it focuses on things. Yes, please continue.
they are produced by public sector of the economy. They are related to the whole country as a whole. Macroeconomics is concerned with such aggregates as national income, GNP, saving, consumption, GDP, and so on. There are macro statistics in formation.
These are macro statistics information.
In
Yes.
formation.
So yeah. Now this, we're told that this kind of statistical information is the business of the public sector of the economy.
Yes.
When we say public sector, now we're talking about the government. The government is responsible for this kind
Totally.
of statistical, all right, collection or statistical acquisition. So do you have
Yes,
anything
sir.
on interview? You say you do you have anything on that?
This is a conversation with a purpose. There can be formal and informal
Hmm.
interview.
A
Inform
conversation with a purpose. Can you explain
Yes.
that? Excuse me.
Because interview is, like you said, that it is information with a purpose. You can't The discussion will have
Not information,
where it is heading
conversation,
to. You have
please.
to get information. You want to derive information from that conversation.
Hmm. I'm not
From
satisfied.
You want to
Say that
obtain
again.
some answers or to grab some facts.
Okay. Now, before we even talk about interview or interviewing, it it's it does not just start from that point whereby you are being interviewed. Do you know that?
Yes.
Before you are sitting for an interview or before you are being interviewed, there's already a before the process. And what are we talking about here? The interviewing or the interview process with somebody begins with an individual showing interest in a project, in a conversation, or in a particular organization. There's an ingredient of interest.
Yes, sir.
That interest, that interest built upon, all right, the conversation is built upon interest from both parties. The first party, the first party is the one making the publication. Second party is the one who has seen, all right, the posting,
Yes.
the publication, and I think I have interest, or I think I will go for this interview. Now you see
Yes.
that for you to have seen what I have publicated and responded to my publication, it explains that you have interest, and that interest made you and me be having this conversation. And that's why it says it is a conversation with a purpose. You don't just go to interview without knowing why you are there. You know why you are going for that interview. You know why you are being interviewed. You are prepared. You are certified, prepared to be in that conversation. Now, do you not understand why it says that it is a conversation with a purpose?
Yes.
You don't just sleep and wake up and see yourself in an interview.
That's
Like
happening.
you don't just sleep and wake up and all of a sudden you are being interviewed. Does it work that way?
No, it does not at all.
Awesome, awesome. So you can continue, man.
Interviews are used in number of situations that include obtaining opinion polls.
Opinion.
Yes, opinion
Yeah.
polls for the success of a candidate in an election. Studying why people behave in a way. Selecting applicator wait oh, applicant selecting applicants for some jobs.
Applicants.
Yes.
Exactly.
reporting, especially in the radio and television. Before the
Mm,
interview is conducted, yeah, you've said now the interviewer must have knowledge of the respondent. The interviewer must
awesome.
also secure an initial report with his respondent. The interviewer must
Awesome.
explain carefully and briefly the purpose of the interview to his respondent. The interviewer should be very objective.
Very,
This
very.
interview stuff is in BS 207. I'm even reading it presently. The first
Yes,
class.
yes.
It's in BS
It should.
207.
Yeah, it should. It has a lot to do with management as a whole.
Yes.
It has a lot to do with management as a whole. Do you have anything on questionnaire?
Sir? Yeah.
Do you have anything on
It
questionnaire,
is
ma?
a list of questions drawn in a way such that the questions are related to the objective of the study being conducted, and the responses to the questions will be analyzed to provide solutions to the problem we attempt to solve in the study.
Can you explain, please?
There are two types of questionnaire. We have the structured
No,
office.
can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, 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 I can.
Please, can you give me a detailed explanation on what you just said about the questionnaire, ma? And
There are
moreover,
two
Miss Rachel, why am I
questions.
not seeing your face?
Ah, fine.
Yes.
That question is
It's a
kind of
Telegram class, it's not YouTube. It's a Telegram.
so.
At least it's 5 p.m. So it's not dark yet.
The problem is that
Now you are far from your phone.
it's because there is it. Well, that's why you do not see my face.
Okay, no wala.
So, questionnaire is a question. It's a question compiled together.
Okay.
So
What
those
makes
questions are
questionnaire
asked.
different from every kind of questions? We can have other books whereby we compile questions together. What makes questionnaire different?
Ah, it is related to the according to this. So it is related to the objective of the study being conducted.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So now that word is connotative. There's a lot imbibed in that word. So what I just want to add to it is that when we say questionnaire is a document carefully, all right, it's a document carefully designed, all right, a document
Right, sir.
carefully designed. This document is In this document you find a list of questions carefully designed for not just for anybody, not just for everybody, for respondents. All right.
Hmm.
So when you are doing your questionnaire, you bear in mind your respondents. Questions are carefully arranged, they are carefully selected and properly structured so that the respondents can, without stress, give
Relate to the
answers or
question.
respond to these questions. So that's why it's different from any kind of regular kind of questions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have that as that.
Then we have
So
two
what are the
types
types
of
of questionnaire?
questionnaire:
Okay.
structured and unstructured. So the structured questionnaire is also known as fixed response, while the
Hmm.
unstructured is also known as open-ended.
Hmm. The structured. Can you explain more
Yes, sir.
on the structured? Can you
The
explain more? Give us more
structured
explanation on the
questionnaire
structure.
consists of a list of questions drawn on the study being conducted.
Okay.
So the unstructured questionnaire is a list of questions drawn on the study on which information is required.
Okay. Not bad. So now let's take it this way. When we say the structured questionnaire, we can Consider them as fixed questionnaire.
Okay, sir.
All right. They are more like a yes or no kind of
Question.
questions. Disagree, strongly disagree, disagree, strongly disagree, true or false. So the kind of questionnaire. This is even kind of questionnaire I used when I was doing my projects. And this is the majorly general questionnaire people usually use. It goes straight to the answer. But the unstructured, all right, look at what it says here. Okay, the unstructured is more like a open-ended. It says here that it is a list of questions drawn on the study on which information is required. Information. As a
Yes,
respondent, you have the privilege to give certain explanation, like details. I don't know if you get it.
I do.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's continue, please.
Should I continue?
Yes, please.
Stop that. The respondents are free to provide their own responses. An ordered array of data does not sufficiently summarize the data. Now, class intervals are defined as contiguous, non-overlapping intervals selected in such a way that they are mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive.
Yes, yes. Now you are going into the details of uh, measure. How
Standard.
do I even put it?
That's just
Measure of
grammar.
dispersion. The dispersion of measure in where we have all our mean, variance, mode, and class limit, class boundary, class interval, and the likes. Okay.
Yeah.
Although you get to understand this better when we are doing the calculation, but nevertheless, when we say the class interval, it's more like just like we have been told, it's not overlapping.
Yes.
All right, it's not overlapping.
Can be grammar self.
Um, it could be 10 to 21, 21 to 30, 31 to 40.
Okay.
All right, intervals. All right. And this time this is it, and this other time this is it, and this other time everything is distinctively selected, arranged accordingly. Talk about intervals. Okay. What about the limit?
Class limits for any class interval. Work fast now. Go and give it to grammar. There are two class limits, the lower class, the lower and the upper, 41, 41, 51, 60, 71, 81. The upper limit, the upper limits are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90.
Do you really have
That's
to read
all.
all that out? Now, class
That
limit. Just, I was actually, do you really have to read out all the figures? But it's okay. For class intervals, okay. For any class interval, there are two limits.
yes,
They are which one and which one?
the upper and the lower.
Wonderful. When we say upper, upper remains upper. When we say lower, lower remains lower. So for lower, lower could be 10, upper could be 21, upper could be 20. You can tell that 20 is greater than 10, right?
Yes,
10 is less, so it's lower. Then upper is 20. That's what it is basically, nothing more, nothing less. So for every class interval, there are class limits. For the lower class, their limit is 10. For the upper class, they are 20. Their limit is 20. And it goes on and on like that. So we have
yes.
class boundary. What do you have on class boundary?
For any class interval, there are two class boundaries. The lower class
Hmm.
boundary of the class interval is the mean of the lower class limit of the interval and the upper limit of the preceding interval. The upper class boundary of a class interval is the mean of upper class limit of the class interval and the lower class limit of the succeeding class interval.
Now, this class boundary is still pointing back to class interval, where there are two class boundaries. We have the lower class boundary of the class interval. All right. When we say mean
Yes.
now, we are talking about that particular figure divided by 2. It's more like we are doing, let's say, 11 plus 20 divided by 2. You remember when we do that? More like x bar, something
Yes.
like that. You remember, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Awesome. So we have that as that.
Now we have
The
class
same thing
mark.
is almost. Yes, go ahead, please.
This is the mean of the upper and the lower class boundary.
The mean of the upper and the lower class boundary. So basically, everything still points at the mean that determines the class interval. All this you get to understand better when we have a proper table and we can explain them properly. Okay, all this ones we are even trying to explain now. It's like been better if we have our table, what these things are. But at least you have an idea now. When we start with
Yes.
tables, you would understand better.
Yes.
So we have just basically for group and ungroup. Can you just walk us through that very quickly?
Now the relative frequency of a value is defined by the total frequencies of all the values contained in a set of values.
Okay. Now to explain that, datas can be grouped and they can be ungrouped. When we have ungrouped data, we just talk about rational numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're like that. But for the grouped data, they are more like 11 to 20, 21 to 30. Between that 11 to 20, we have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. A lot of numbers are there. So all those numbers, instead of just listing them out, they are grouped into a category, which is 11 to 20. Are we together?
Yes.
So it's basically what it is. It's nothing much. So we have cumulative frequency. What do you have on cumulative frequency?
Yes. The cumulative frequency of grouped data is constructed the same way as that of ungrouped data.
Awesome. This cumulative frequency is calculated after you have listed all your frequencies.
Yes.
Then you add them all together. And we need that cumulative frequency to calculate is either mean
Yes.
or median, but I know we need that cumulative frequency to calculate something on the
Which
table.
thing is 100 naira? Okay. Sorry for the
Okay,
interruption.
it's okay. So what's the next one?
We have histogram.
Okay.
One of the ways of representing the distribution is by means of histogram. Histogram can be used to estimate the mode of the distribution. The value of the vertical
Exactly.
line on the horizontal axis is the mode. Another way of
Okay.
representing frequency distribution. Okay, sorry, that's another one.
Okay, now you see all this histogram, ogive, there's
Chani,
a graphical representation of all these things. Okay, the likes of ogive, bar charts, histogram,
chart.
pie charts.
Yes,
Yes,
pictogram.
yes. There's what we call a graphical representation, and every one of them, their calculations are very similar. Some we use 100%. At the pie chart, we use 360%,
100.
360
360, yes,
degree.
because it's circle.
Yes, it's round. So basically, do you have anything on harmonic? Harmonic mean?
Harmonic mean.
Yep.
Yeah. The harmonic mean is used to average ratios, speeds, etc. It is used mostly in engineering. The harmonic mean can
Harmonic.
also be used to obtain the average of different speeds.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's still basically in line what we are talking about. I think it's better explained when we're having the calculations, a proper understanding of all these things. We have the measures of skewness. And look at this symmetry and skewness. What do you have on that?
What's that? Symmetry.
Yeah,
Okay.
symmetry.
A symmetry distribution has a peak at the middle of the distribution, where with the slope the either side of the peak virtually equal to each other. The direction of the depends on the relationship of the peak of the distribution to the center. That's the mean of the histogram.
Do you know what it means by this peak?
No.
PEAK.
A peak is the highest
Like,
point.
yes, the highest point. And it says that a symmetry distribution has a peak at the middle. So when there's a peak at the middle of the distribution, all right, if this line is a distribution, this straight line. So if it's suddenly have this in the middle, it has changed form, right?
Yeah.
That's this is the peak. This is the peak of the distribution, and it's referred to as what we call symmetric. When this line suddenly have a peak, and it becomes what we call symmetric. Okay, it says here that direction of the skew depends on the relationship of the peak. Now the skew now we're talking about more like gallop, not the peak. More like it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. Are we together? Because
Yes.
it says here that the direction of the skew depends on the relationship of the peak. How high determines the next skew. If it's not so high, it determines it has an effect on the skew, and if it's very high, it also have an effect on the skew. Okay, so basically that is it. You already know what the range is, right?
Yes.
The highest minus the lowest, right?
Yeah.
And for the that standard deviation, I think we did that already in our very simple and
Standard
straight formula.
deviation.
S raised to the power of two. Yes, S raised to the power of two.
Yes.
Did you miss that class?
S raised power 2.
Yes.
I missed the class, so that's why I said you should please arrange it. Then I can go and watch it from the beginning to end.
Okay, let's see if I can do that. That thing is a lot of work, and I'm not even the way the work is now. Everything is just revision. For me, having this class, you can see how tired I look. I've not been able to
Yes.
sleep since just the night. It's all about revision, revision, revision. Doing anything outside revision is very, very, very difficult for me now. But I'll just see how I can send that particular class to you. If I
Okay.
say I will arrange it for you, I'll be lying to you. Okay, so this coefficient of variation, so we did the class two. Next one, did the class two.
Coefficient.
Yes, of variation. It's a calculation that we did the class as well.
Okay.
Here we have the sample and population.
I can't find
So
it.
this I'll send it to you. Don't worry. A set of. Do you have anything on set?
Yes.
What do you have there?
Base A set is a collection of definite distinct objects called elements or members of the set.
Of the set. Hmm.
For the set theory, the set is written in capital letters. Set A. Example, after
Yes.
each element there must be a comma. Comma.
Exactly.
The common bracket is not allowed.
Exactly.
Then we
Exactly.
have basic concept concepts in set theory. We have unit
Okay.
set. The set,
Miss
sorry,
Rachel.
your time is fast spent.
We're gonna call it wrap. We are going to call a wrap here today. Okay. So we are stopping at this basic concept in set theory. I think we
Yes.
are 30 of 35 page. We are almost done. So just 5 pages to go. When do you have this exam?
4th of February, the last one.
4th of. Okay. That means we still have time to have classes
Yes.
then. So communicate it to you when we're having classes again on this course.
Okay.
I'll send you the revision class so you can get yourself acquainted with the class we
Okay,
had.
sir.
Thank you very much, ma, and
Thank you, sir.
do have a wonderful evening.
And you
Bye
too,
for
sir.
now.